hey, my house is haunted. He goes, oh, really? So I told him the story of what happened the night before. The woman finishes her phone conversation. We conduct our business. And then when we were done, she said, okay, now I want to tell you, this is the name and phone number of my best friend who grew up in your house. And she has all sorts of stories of things that happened when she lived there. She goes, the only one I can remember is how something would touch her feet at night when she was trying to go to sleep.
No way. Welcome back to the RV Queens podcast, where we are all about women making money on the road. I'm Kate White, and today we're picking up right where we left off last time with Tonja Lesmeister, the woman behind Firefly Hills Campground in eastern Kentucky. Now, if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, press pause right now, go back, listen to that episode, and then come back. You guys, trust me, it's worth it. In this second half of our conversation, we are going to get into some truly unforgettable territory that we started in episode 1. Tonja shares the surprising discovery she made after moving into her 1920s farmhouse on the land she bought to build a campground. And spoiler alert, it involves a few ghosts, a local Facebook group, and her own ghost hunting equipment. Yes, really. We also dive into her nonprofit called Traveling with a Purpose, which leads service-based trips to Jamaica, plus how she helps people ease into international travel while making an impact. Whether you're curious about starting a nonprofit, traveling with purpose, or you just love a good ghost story, this episode has something for you. Grab your coffee and let's roll. So I've heard that there is some paranormal activity that sometimes goes on at Firefly Hills. Have you personally experienced anything unusual yet? You have?
Yes.
Oh, tell me.
Yes. So here's a little funny story about this. We did not know we bought a house that has paranormal activity for a year.
Oh, wow.
For a year. So when I was interacting with locals in the community, I have a funny accent. I have really short hair. It's, not as pink as sometimes it is. I'm an outsider, right? So people say, oh, are you here visiting the gorge? They assume I'm a tourist. I said, no, actually, I just bought some property here. And they would ask me what I bought. And I told them, and all the locals or most locals know this property. And I always just thought, gosh, Kentuckians ask kind of strange questions because they didn't come right out and ask me. They kind of skirted it, right? So I was with another full-time RVing friend in town at a local business, and this happened. And somebody said, have you noticed anything? And I'm like, there's one of those odd questions again. And I finally just asked, and I said, do you mean ghosts? And Blanche says to Linda, that is just a rumor. And I'm like, you do mean ghosts. I come home, I tell my husband, and my neighbors had come over, and I said, do you know anything about this house having, a history of ghosts or paranormal activity? And they're like, oh yeah, there's a whole Facebook page just about the paranormal activity on your house.
No way.
Nobody told me. I'd owned it for a year. My friends back home who've known me a while they said, of course you would buy a haunted house because we are amateur ghost hunters.
Are you serious?
I have my own equipment. Yes, I have my own equipment. I got it for Christmas one year from my family because we like to ghost hunt for fun. We've been to, Jerome, Arizona. We've been to the Alamo. We've done it in Memphis. We've done it. And, in our RV travels, it's something we seek out. Either we do it on our own or we, get tickets for a local ghost hunting company. And so we accidentally bought a haunted house.
This is so incredible. You're just attracting it to you.
So a few of the things that have happened to me in particular, one of my favorite stories is, so the local folklore story is that there is a woman that can be seen in the window of the top floor. So this house has a basement and then 3 additional floors. So it's a pretty big farmhouse. And that top floor, we don't rent that top floor out. We have it set up for when our kids come to visit. If our RV isn't here and we fly in, we stay on that floor. Anyways, so I was here. Our RV was in Arizona. My husband was off working. My son was sleeping in the bed across the room. It's kind of like a studio apartment without a kitchen. It's got a bathroom, but it's big. And I'm my PJs are on, my feet are in the blankets. I'm sitting there on my laptop working, and I feel something very gently touch like my ankle, right? Just like the sheet or something is touching it. So I rub my feet. I'm working, and it happens again. And it happens again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's got to be like an Asian beetle under the blankets. I get up, all white sheets. So there's no print to them. So you can see everything. I pull back the sheets. There's nothing under there. I crawl back in bed. It happens again. It happens again in the exact same spot on my ankle. And I finally just acknowledged that it was one of the spirits that's in the house. And I said, all right, I noticed that you're here, but I'm trying to get some work done. Can you leave my feet, leave my ankle alone? It happens again. I finally had to tuck my feet under me to finish what I was doing. So the next day, my contractor at the time is not local to this town. He grew up about an hour away. We had some business to do in town, and the person we needed to speak to was on the phone. So I'm just killing time with him, making small talk. And I said, hey, my house is haunted. He goes, oh, really? So I told him the story of what happened the night before. The woman finishes her phone conversation. We conduct our business. And then when we were done, she said, okay, now I want to tell you, this is the name and phone number of my best friend who grew up in your house. And she has all sorts of stories of things that happened when she lived there. She goes, the only one I can remember is how something would touch her feet at night when she was trying to go to sleep.
No
right?
way. Are you kidding me?
I turned and looked at my contractor, and his jaw was just wide open. I said, what did I just tell you 15 minutes ago? So that was a fun story. A few things that happened in that same room. A friend of ours from Jamaica, two of our kids are Jamaican, and a good friend of ours came and stayed with us before the park was open to help us with the, hundreds of tasks that needed to be done. And I said, okay, Sid, I'm putting you on the third floor of the house, and it's haunted. He's like, okay, whatever time. He doesn't believe me. I'm like, whatever. And each morning he would come to my RV, we'd have breakfast, and then he and Troy would go off and do some projects. He was here about 2.5 weeks in. He comes down for breakfast. My husband was gone at the time. And he goes, Tanya, I got to tell you what happened last night. I'm like, okay. He goes, I was laying in bed. I was trying to fall asleep, and I felt something crawl in bed with me. He goes, so I sat straight up, and something just gently pushed me back down. And it's way funnier if you hear him say this, because in his Jamaican accent, right? He's Jamaican. He goes, I said, this isn't happening. I'm not sharing this room, and I'm not leaving. So you're going to have to go.
Oh my gosh.
And then he sees something dark go down the stairs. So he leaves. He leaves after being with us for 3 weeks. And my daughter and her fiance come and stay with us. And I put them in that same room, in that same bed, right under the window where people have seen a woman before. And I said, okay, you know that this is haunted. This is what happened to Sid, a week ago. And they're like, okay, whatever. So they go to bed one night. They're chatting about their day, facing each other in bed, as, many of us do with our partners. And all of a sudden, my son-in-law goes, something just touched my butt.
Oh my gosh. No way.
This is the same bed that I was in when something touched my feet. So one other story, and then I'll tell you what we've done with this since then. But we had a guest in the blue room, and I was on duty for chores that day. So I, we call it flipping the room. So remake the bed, clean it up, whatever, get it ready for the next guest. I step into the hallway, and at the time, if the rooms weren't being used, we closed the doors. And so the door was shut, and we have three rooms that we rent on that floor. And one of them, it's like somebody had the door handle and just was rattling without turning the knob, just rattling the door back and forth. So it was hitting the door jamb, like clank, 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 like this. And I'm standing there in the hallway, just staring at it. listening to the door clank, 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 back and forth. And I'm like, okay, this is my imagination. But we also have little signs on the door, so guests know which room is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And the little sign is going, so it's moving back and forth as well. So I'm like, I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it. And so I didn't yell, but in a loud voice, I said, is there anybody in the pink room? And there was no response. There was nobody on that floor with me.
Oh my gosh. What?
So now we keep the doors open.
Yeah.
Because apparently the spirits don't like the doors closed. So we've had the house professionally investigated with the paranormal organization. And at the time, we have 4 spirits. 3 of them are ancestors of the people who built the house. All women. Nothing sinister. I think they love their house. And I talk to them regularly. I'm trying to honor them and their space and their family. And we've, I talk to them about, I bring in antiques. I brought in antiques to furnish the house and ripped up the carpet to expose the hardwood floors and trying to, honor the 1920s house that it is, right? And honor them and be respectful to them. And then there's also a little boy, that resides. He's the trickster. He's the one that tickles people's feet, and things like that. So we did that paranormal investigation. We had another podcast that came that night to report on it as well. And that was fun. It was a local podcaster. And then we've had different paranormal investigator, amateur people who want to come. They stay with us and they want to investigate. So they've done that. And then what we started last year in the fall of the year, and we're going to be doing again this year, is we sell tickets and you can come and we let you use our paranormal investigation equipment. And we take you into 3 different rooms in the house and you can practice and try to communicate with the spirits that are in the house. And then we tell some stories. We tell a little bit about the history of the house and tell some stories of things that have happened to other people that have stayed with us or with work campers or with us ourselves. And so we've got that. Those tickets will go on sale here in a couple months, but we do that in the fall of the year. The Haunted Discoveries is a YouTube channel that does paranormal investigation and historical research. And they are coming in October to investigate the house. So I think they've done 5 seasons. So we will be part of season 6. So they have a production crew of 16 crew members coming. In October to investigate the house. And then we'll be in one of their episodes that will probably go live this winter sometime. There's also, you're probably familiar with the Bourbon Trail. There's also the Moonshine Trail, but there's also a paranormal trail in Kentucky. And so we are part of the paranormal trail. So you get a passport and you get a stamp for each location. And we are one of 2 locations here in Lee County that has paranormal activity that people can come and get their stamp.
I thought I was just going to ask that question and you were going to give me like a 2-sentence answer. And I love that we just spent so much time on this. And the fact that you already had experience with like ghost hunting and had the equipment. And I just feel like your story is so inspiring because all these pieces of your life just like have congealed so well. Into what you've created. And like even the fact that you're like inadvertently attracting international guests after being like international travelers and you've adopted kids from, outside the US and all this stuff. And it's so inspiring, Tonja. Like I didn't know I would conduct this interview and feel like have my jaw on the table at the end of this. This is
and kudos to you
amazing.
for doing your research because I don't put the paranormal stuff out front and center.
Yeah,
some people
you have one line on the website, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, you're trying to just talk to the general public. But also in my RV Queen circles this
Mm.
month, I just happened to have
Mhm.
someone that was just staying at your place and
Yes.
gave me a little tip. So I had some insider information.
Oh,
That's,
okay. Okay, you gotta help her. I have an idea of one of two people that would have been.
yeah, you probably know who it is. I have to ask this while we're on the topic. I didn't know there was like professional, I don't know the right words, paranormal investigators.
Investigators,
And
yes.
you said when you hired them, then you found out about who the people were. So are these professionals like, is the right word mediums? Like, are they able to like speak with them and figure out who they are? Or like, how do they figure out who the
Yeah,
people in
they
your house
they
are?
could be, but not necessarily. So there's lots of different tools you can use to communicate with people on the other side. Um, and they're using those tools. And we've actually we had that group come and do a professional investigation. But also when I sold tickets last year, there were some other paranormal investigators visiting some friends in town because there's a second site and they wanted to come and see. And so then they gave us more information. But when you use the different paranormal investigation tools, you can ask questions. You can ask yes, no questions. There's different ways to communicate it. So you don't have to be a medium to communicate. Yeah, with people on the other side.
Music is really important to our family. Did you know I was once a jazz saxophonist? Yep. When we started traveling full-time, I knew I had to find a way for my kids to learn an instrument from the road. I am so glad we found Hoffman Academy, the leading online platform for kids to learn piano. It's a complete music education that's affordable and packed with both music theory and fun. Over the past year, my little second grader learned how to read music, play with both hands, and even play chords. Click the link in the show notes to sign up for a premium membership today and use code RVQueens for 15% off. Everyone knows that Colorado is one of the most beautiful places to camp in the U.S., right? Okay, if you're heading there this year, you've got to check out the Four Corners area near Mesa Verde and stay at the Cortez RV Resort by Our Journey. You'll enjoy mountain views, a heated pool, and even a 3-acre dog park. What? Click the link in the show notes to book now and start your journey with Our Journey. This is so fascinating. I almost want to just like keep going down this whole subject, but I'm gonna put a bow on this, and I really want to talk about your nonprofit. You are clearly a very intentional and purpose-led individual. Like I can tell that gathering people and fostering community is really important, which is obviously so wonderful. Like the world needs so many more people like you. So in addition to running this incredible campground experience, you also run this nonprofit called Traveling with a Purpose. Tell us more about this and why Jamaica is so special to you.
Before my husband proposed, I warned him and I said, just so you know what you're getting into, I really have the desire to foster or adopt children someday. And we have done that. We've fostered children when we lived in the sticks and bricks, and we have two adopted children from Jamaica. So when we went in 2008, I said, I'm going to probably fall in love with a child and be interested in adopting. And we loved the culture, and there are children that unfortunately have adults and parents in their life that are not able to parent them for various reasons, not only in other countries, but in the US as well. So I just want to acknowledge that. But we ended up adopting kids from Jamaica, siblings. My oldest and youngest are from Jamaica. And we wanted to continue to support the staff and the homes that they lived at. So I brought the best way to do that, I thought, was, I could go. My husband and I could go and help and volunteer, but I could do so much more if we brought other people with us. So we led several trips, several years apart. And then we brought the kids home, and then I took a long break. We were parenting at the time 4 children. I was still working as a social worker in the community. I just didn't have time for that. Time had passed. The kids got settled and were doing well. I no longer was working outside of the home. And some of my friends started calling me and reaching out and saying, hey, when are you going to lead another trip? And so I knew it was time. So in 2018, I started planning another trip for 2019. And when I put it out into the world, I had 40 people want to come with me. I can't take 40 people on one. That's way too big. That was a huge trip. So I said, okay, I don't want to tell anybody no. So we led 2 trips back to back. My husband and I were in Jamaica for 3 weeks. It was amazing, but also exhausting at the same time. And so I led trips before, and people are, checked that off their bucket list and moved on with their life. But these 40 people said, okay, so now how are we going to continue to support these homes once we come back to the US? And I'm like, I provided you with this opportunity. Why don't you just check it and move on? They're like, no, we think you need to start a nonprofit. And I had thought about it before I checked into it. It is a lot of work and it's expensive to start a nonprofit. And I said, I'm not interested. I've investigated this. It's costly. It's a lot of work. And they just kept, encouraging. And I finally said, okay, fine, I'll do this, but I'm not going to do this by myself. I need people to help financially, and I need people to help make up the board. And so we started the process, and it took us a year to complete the process. And in 2020, we got our nonprofit status. So we have a board. We have led anywhere between 1 and 4 trips a year to Jamaica. And we help out the 2 homes that my children lived at, and then an autism center as well. So we are different than a lot of mission trip organizations. So if it's okay with you, I'll just take a minute and explain how we're different. So a lot of mission trips are associated with a church. And I wanted to make sure that everybody felt welcome to provide service. And so we are secular in nature, so that it does not matter what your religion is or if you practice a religion or not. You are welcome to join us. And then we provide a lot of training in advance. And I think it's really important when you are a guest in another country that you learn about the local culture so you don't inadvertently offend locals. And part of that is from our world schooling experience. There's things that visitors do that they don't have a clue that is not appropriate in that country. It might be appropriate in the US, but not in a country. So we do a lot of training about culture. We do training about the kids a little bit, not specific kids, but just general kids who spend time in institutions. So we do training briefly around trauma, around attachment and sensory processing disorder, which a lot of kids who are institutionalized have exposure to one or all of those things. And we do training, just sometimes this is people's first experience leaving the country. So we do practical training around customs and immigration and, that practical training as well. And then the other thing that makes us unique with our nonprofit is we like to leverage people's unique skill sets. So whether it's a hobby or what you did for a career, we want to make sure that we offer that to our partners in Jamaica and see if they have a need that matches that skill set. Because I don't want to go there and hand everybody a paintbrush and say, we're painting this fence. When you might be a teacher, or you might be really good at sewing, or you might be good at construction. We want to make sure, or IT, or an occupational therapist, or whatever, a nurse. We want to make sure that we're leveraging your unique skill set and trying to use that with a need that our partners have in Jamaica.
That is brilliant. And I wish there was more models like that where, let's be intentional about what people need, where we're visiting, and what the makeup of the people in the party visiting, and how can we work together. That is so brilliant, Tonja.
Our last trip we had in January, I had besides my family, I had 3 other full-time RVers join us. And so if you are considering dabbling in world schooling or international travel, this is a great opportunity to dip your toes into that, because I plan the itinerary, so you don't have to worry about that. But you get to practice, visiting another country and going through customs and immigration and learning what you should know about what kind of information you should seek out before visiting other countries. So I do advertise in the full-time RV community about our service trips, and we will be probably in about a month be launching our next registration for our next trip in January. So if we have any viewers that are interested in an international travel, this might be a good opportunity for them to try that.
This conversation has blown my mind, Tonja. Seriously, it's been so interesting, so inspiring. Go ahead and share with everyone how they can book a stay at Firefly Hills. How can they support your nonprofit, and even just connect with you online? And then I will ask you my final questions.
So you can find us, our website for Firefly Hills is fireflyhillskentucky.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And our nonprofit, Traveling with a Purpose, is travelingwithapurpose.org. And you can find us also on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Today, I'm going to end with a fun lightning round of questions to help the audience get to know the other side to you.
Okay.
Don't
I'm
think
prepared.
too hard.
I know you do this, so I'm prepared.
Awesome. So I've got 4 questions today. I'm going to say it. You just say the first thing that pops in your head. Here we go. Number 1, imagine you are hosting a campground karaoke night. What song are you belting out?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. The only one that comes to mind is the one that my husband he's done, and it's Another One Bites the Dust.
Oh, really?
But I don't know why.
Classic. That's all right. Let's roll with it. All right. Number 2, when you guys are traveling on the road, are you more of a let's plan out the whole trip type person, or let's just wing it type person?
Both. So I like to plan the big things and then leave space in between for more organic stays and excursions.
All right. Number 3, what is your go-to road trip snack? And there's no judgment here.
Yes. So it's the peel apart Twizzlers.
Oh, really?
Because it's tasty and fun to play with. It's the only time that you have permission to play with your food, right? It's because you have to peel them apart.
So true. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, cool. Last question. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who's at your table?
She's a writer, Maya Angelou. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She is an African-American woman who has just written some really inspiring things. And I can't remember how long ago she passed, but maybe 5 years ago or something like that. So I think it would be her. I would love to meet her.
I had a feeling you were going to pick someone dead because of our conversation.
Maybe she'll come to visit.
Maybe she will. Oh my goodness. All righty. That is a wrap. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Tonja. I have really enjoyed this conversation and getting to know you so much better than I thought I would.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. I appreciate the opportunity. And hopefully we'll see more of your viewers staying with us here at Firefly Hills. I've had 3 RV queens in the past 2 weeks. So
good. I love it. All righty, Tonja. I will see you on the road.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for being part of the RV Queens community. Remember to hit subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And guess what? You can have conversations like I had on this episode with your fellow RV women who are living intentionally and making money on the road. Head to rvqueenspodcast.com/community to join RV Queen Circles today. It's a totally unique online space with a shared prosperity model that's all about community over competition. I'd love to have you be a part. All right, guys, I'll see you next week, or hopefully I will see you on the road.
So amazing.